its video going over what's in the 3 boxes. There are 3 boxes that get delivered to your house. They are roughly 50 to 55 pounds each, so they are pretty hefty. I really like the foam that was in there. I must add that again, even though I added it in the video. They did a very good job displaying / separating the parts into their own little compartments into the foam, and it is a high grade foam, so that was something that was very nice to see. I will be following the Fysetc wiki guide, the assembly guide for building this. I will not be using the GitHub. The GitHub seems to get updated whenever they feel like it. The wiki seems like it gets updated as it goes. So Canuck Creator, I had watched his build series on this, and he had really ran into some trouble building the tool head because of the GitHub. Well, it was updated on the wiki, but not the GitHub. So by him following that and downloading that, it actually had set him back. So I will be utilizing the wiki. I will tag that as well. The one bonus thing too that I'm really happy about is LDO makes these nice wrenches here. I really like that I was able to get these. I got these from Fysetc. I think it was $15 and then another $5 to ship. So $20 for these. Fabrico hasn't had them. West 3D hasn't had them. So I'm real happy that I'm able to use these, which these tips are supposed to be really good and people really like these. So versus buying the cheap ones on Amazon, I spent the extra $5-10 bucks to get these ones, and that's what I'm going to be using for this build. So let's go ahead and get started. So again, here's the wiki that I will start the frame assembly. And actually the little guide that they put, I gotta turn it sideways so you can see it. These are letters up top here that go across. They kind of package them very similar to what they put here, which I really like. Again, in that foam that they separated. So we'll go ahead and start with 2.1.1, which highlights the ones that we need. And then we go down to 2.1.1.2, I guess you could say. It doesn't say 0.2, but then it shows you to do the top of the frame first. So we have these extrusions right in front of us. Right here, I got 4 of them picked out. These are just the blank ones. So it calls for the M5 by 12 button head cap screw, so that's what I got here. I am going to be using the Loctite here. I know some people don't use the Loctite, but I plan on building this and not having to worry about it because, yeah, I don't want to have to worry about it. So I want this to put 4 on this side. This is my first printer that I will be building. I have not built a printer before this one. I do have an Adventure 85M that I printed, and everything is tuned to that perfectly, but I needed something with the build size of the 6mm cubed, which I really don't need that much on the Z for it to be tall. I just need the X and Y 600mm to be effective for what I'm looking for. The part I probably could have got away with the 350mm like Trident or something, but I figured the LDO one of that was like 13 or 1500 bucks versus paying an extra 400 bucks and getting 600mm. So to me it made no sense. especially because the documentation has gotten much better with this since the first few people, experienced people, have gone and built this and given their feedback to Fysetc. So shout out to those, you know, Canuck Creator, Modbot Army, and a few the other guys that I watch. Shout out to them for obviously making it a little bit more simple for them and helping them. So I'm going to tentatively put these in, and then when I go to lock everything down and kind of figure out what happens from here, I'm gonna remove them and then put them back in with the Loctite in them, because I don't want it to set before I'm ready for it to set. So there was a few suggestions for the rat rig. I wasn't real keen on the rat rig because I didn't like how by the time you are done buying everything when it came to the enclosure, the Raspberry Pi, the lights, everything else that you needed to buy, you were at like $2,500 to almost $3,000. So it made no sense in my mind to, even if I buy this one and I have to change the MCU board and I have to change the tool head board and upgrade the polycarbonate outer enclosure pieces that go on the side, if they warp, to me it made no sense to spend all that money on something that has 100 millimeters less in the build space. So it might be a little bit more reliable, but there was, again, I think there was another video that I watched that he was still struggling with it to get it to print right, and it took a little bit of him messing around with it to get it to print the way he wanted it to. I do have quite a bit of technical experience, but if I am going to have to fiddle with the settings on the printer, I'm gonna get something that's bigger and that I can use for my application that's gonna fit it better. So there's that. And I actually talked to quite a few people that did not suggest this as my first build. So, yeah, just stick with me and we'll do the best we can here. And these M5 button head cap screws, they take a 3mm hex wrench. I'm using the 3mm. Alright, so as you can see, we put the 2 right there, and then the 4 on the other side. And again, those are M5 5 by 12 button head cap screws, and you put those in all 4 of the plain extrusions, just with the L on one side where it's half cut off. So now what it wants us to do it wants us to take one of these like this. One of these like this. Yeah, this is definitely going to be a big print. Definitely going to be a big print. It's going to fit on this this whole countertop. It's kind of crazy actually. I gotta move. It's so big. I gotta move stuff out of the way. It creates a lot more space over here because yeah, this definitely is. Needs it. It definitely needs a space. And this is my countertop. I kind of was trying to make sure that I did this with the countertop, so it's the flattest area I could get. I had one of those little fold-up tables. I didn't want to use that because I don't trust how flat it is, so I used the countertop. Okay, so I think this is what we're looking for here. And we'll go from here, so what I'm gonna do is this extrusion here, I'm actually gonna go grab a tape measure, find the middle so I can try and match that up. This edge perfectly, so it's perfectly in the middle, just so everything kind of squares up. And we'll see how we do with that. Just instead of eyeballing it, I want to try and keep it as exact as possible. So I'll be right back. The one thing I do not have is a millimeter tape measure. It would have been nice if I would have got one, but I did not get it. So we're going to stick with the standard. Although who really uses millimeters at communist units anyways? We're in America, okay? We use these units. Although the millimeter is it's a lot easier to deal with than, especially when you're trying to cut it in half and such. 7, 8. Looks like I can get close. All right, so now we have all of them marked exactly in the middle. So I'm praying that that works out okay. Because if it's not, it's going to be a long day in the coming steps. So now what I'll do, so I'll take this out. I'm sure that they would all do exactly the same thing, but these wrenches are very nice. They're well weighted, everything. So, and there is no sponsor to this. I paid for all of this stuff with my own money. So I do provide the links for things that I do like. And in previous videos, I had done an unboxing of the Fysetc Rapido. That will be going on this printer. The Panda Edge scraper that I did a video on as well. That will be used to scrape whatever is needed off of any one of my printers. Because that thing is phenomenal. For those that don't have one, I've used it multiple times. You saw my demonstration of it when I did it in that video, and that thing is wonderful. absolutely saves so much time and frustration, really. Time, frustration, everything. And I'm all about things that save time and frustration. Because who likes to get frustrated? Especially over little tiny things such as stuff on the build plate. Alright, so just stand up here. But it's kind of interesting that it doesn't square up like this. Now I am using this to square it up, and it should be close, but it kind of, once you tighten it, it's at where it's at. It's not, you know, you tighten it and that's it. And this is into aluminum extrusions, so I would not over tighten it or under tighten it for that matter, but it's perfect where it needs to be here. So we'll move on to this one. Yeah, a lot of people didn't use the Loctite. I'm just using it because, like I said before, I don't want to have to worry about it coming loose. Because if it comes loose, then you got to take the sides off to retighten it, and that's just bad news bears. There's a lot of stuff that can go wrong with that. Cause more headaches than it's worth, really. Yeah, I wonder if this square is a little off. It seems to be the same on both. This one shows it right, so this is definitely off a little bit. which is okay. I'll just keep that in my mind that this one is not extremely reliable. Put it that way. And on this Loctite, I'm applying this extremely liberally. I want to put just enough that it's effective, but not taking it on. As you can see, I just put just a little on the end. Just enough to help me out a little. Basic side. It's so big, I gotta move the laptop out of the way a little bit. Alright, now the last side here. And this you won't be able to see too well. Unless I bump this way a little bit. Alright, you should be able to see it. Dogs definitely hear something. That's why we have dog cams. Alright, good boy. Alright, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Yes, thank you. Okay. Let's go. You don't gotta tell me anything further. I realize there's somebody out there. Thank you. Just doing your job. I appreciate you. Okay. Appreciate you. Thanks for letting me know somebody's out there. All right. So this is built. I'll bump this back this way so we can get the whole area there. Yeah, come on right now. Okay, what? Well, you needed data in what makes us yeah. That's all I'm saying. All right, load it back. Okay, so now we're back. We have this is ready to go. This monster of extrusions. This thing's gonna be humongous. You know, it's funny. I was like, you know, all these guys that are building these things, they should know how big it is. This is how big it is. But it's almost as big as a window. That's what I would describe it as. It's like a window. I could put this behind me and make a window on it. It's so big. So now I will go grab, what does it tell me to grab here? It wants me to grab the last 4 for the bottom, because that was the top and this will be the bottom. And the bottom has 2 special pieces, okay? So they still have that little notch on one side, as you can see, but it also has these 3, which are gonna be the bottom, which there's gonna be maybe a 20 by 20 extrusion or a 10 by 10 extrusion that goes in here for the bottom. So these are gonna have to go a specific way, which I will look at how that goes. Okay, so the open side goes up. So this is going to be this side. And this is going to be this side. And that'll stay where it's at right here. Loud noise. Hopefully the sound didn't come through on that. If it did and you're wearing headphones, I apologize. So, we got this over there, we got this over here, and that over there. Okay. So, actually, you know what? It tells you to put the screws in first. I found on the first one, on the top part that we just built, you really don't have to put the screws that are going to go for the top into this portion yet. Because you're going to be putting the screwdriver in here, and if you put these in, it wasn't a big problem, but I just wouldn't put these in until after. I mean, well, why would you put those in until you absolutely need to? It's not like I'm doing anything with them until I get it all put together anyways. So just something small that I would recommend if I was Fysetc to change. I'm going to go around and do the same thing as I did before. I'm going to mark these extrusions so I know where the middle is. And bump this back this way so y'all can see. You know what, since I'm here, I'll just start with these two. You know, it's really interesting. They say that you're supposed to be able to put a square on it and square it up and everything. In order to tighten it, when you have a flat surface to a flat surface, even though it's a cut flat surface, unless you're shimming it or something to make it, it doesn't really make sense that you'd actually be squaring it up. So maybe this could be, because this is my first printer, that it'll be a learning experience for me. But flat surface to flat surface equals flat surface. So but again, maybe it'll be a learning experience for me. I sure hope not, but we'll find out. There's only one way to go about it, and that's to find out. So We'll do another bump just to make sure. Yep, it's tight. And that's tight. Definitely don't want to over tighten those. Now we'll put this back. And we'll do this one. Yeah, the reason I can't really go back and forth right here where you see like this way behind the computer is because I got the camera cord that you're watching right here is through here, so I can't go this way and go to the other side, so I have to go around. So I'll get all this stuff done before I leave this side, and we'll go to the other side. Okay. All right. So now we have those two good. Now we can move over to the other side. So I will be putting a piece of sticker or something here to let me know that this will be the front. Because I really don't think after this portion is built, besides for these two being the sides because of these notches, I'm going to designate this as the front, and then I always know that this is the front. So just something that I'll do to kind of help myself. Because since I'm doing this, I can't blame anybody if it's crooked or anything. So we'll call it CYOA, cover your own apples. Just double checking that those are still tight, because this one was like wedged in between them, so just wanted to make sure that it was still good. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how YouTube's policy is for swearing and stuff, so we'll just say cover your own apples. That's what we'll say. For all the young YouTube listeners listening out there, if they get one of these and they want to put it together following the instructions that I go by, they can without worrying if those languages are used, those vile languages that people frown upon. funny because I'm sure that the youth these days, they know worse words than I do. There's some of you kids out there, like when I first heard someone told me, they were like, I was like, oh, do you want to go, pick this up or whatever? And they're like, bet. And I'm like, bet what? And they're like, no, I'm saying yes. And I'm like, well, why didn't you just say yes? Why'd you say bet? And I guess that the new slang terms is bet. All right. Okay. The final two. Is good. Let's double check it with. Now we know that this is already off, but I'm gonna check it. See this one. This one it fits right in there. So is it really off? Oh, this one is a little questionable. Little rock in between there, maybe a couple millimeters. Move it over here. A little tiny rock in there. And that one's good. So, yeah, that's really interesting how it's. Let's check it and see. It looks like it goes to the middle. It definitely shows it going into the middle of the extrusion. And not only is it in the middle, it's exactly in the middle. Not just like a little bit in the middle, just exactly in the middle. So this should be square. The whole thing. It's kind of surprising that that corner and this corner, that square shows that it's square, and then the other two corners are just a very, very tiny bit off. Like you can see, I don't know if you can see, but it's rocking just that little bit, my thumb moving. And then right here you can see my finger moving and it clacking. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. But again, if I were to have this and move it, how would I square it up with where it's at if all of them are exactly where they're supposed to be on the centers of the extrusions? I'd have to slop it one way or the other to get it to line up, and then it wouldn't be in the middle. So that doesn't make any sense to me. But again, this could be lack of putting printers together on my end, which again, this is my very first one that I've ever put together. I'm going to just make sure that these are good, which they are, as I did before. They are exactly in the middle, not kind of, not sort of, exactly in the middle. And I'm going to disregard what this thing is telling me here, that it's a little bit off. I really hope it doesn't come back to bite me. So now let's see what else we have here. So now it wants me to grab the corner extrusions. So I will grab the corners, and then I'm probably gonna have to put screws back in. Probably gonna have to put screws back in here. Here are the corners. Give you a close-up view. They have that. That's how they look on the corners, okay? And they fit directly in here. And yeah, I mean, it perfectly matches up. So if I were to move this frame to where, first off, I don't know if I would even get all four corners completely square. Because one corner is going to be off, one corner is going to be off. I don't think that would happen, okay? But this is exactly perfect on the corner. So, well, we're gonna find out, because I ain't changing it. I ain't changing it unless I have to. And I'm sure that there's gonna be a slight degree of moving that it's going to have once I tighten these and get the top on and everything is kind of coming together. Really, I think that there's going to be a little bit of movement that it needs. So nothing special about these. Yep, they're all the same. Build the frame on a flat surface, build the frame on glass or granite surface. Okay, that's what I did. Profile showing you pictures and insert them into the assembled profile base from top to bottom. The notch of the bottom assembly profile face upwards. The notch of the bottom. Oh, okay, yeah. Why is it telling me to do that like a step after I did that? Okay, yeah, it should definitely move that section up here when I'm actually doing that with these. What it's talking about is these notches. But what it tells me is these corner extrusions, I'm at the section of this, but it tells me about these notches in these, like over here. It tells me about those notches when I'm putting the corner extrusions on. Why wouldn't you tell me about these notches when I'm putting that together in the previous step? So just something that Fysetc, if you watch this video, I know it's being a little critical, but somebody that doesn't know, like I have no idea what I'm doing here. This is my first printer that I just noticed those little things, right? Maybe that's something that I'm supposed to already know. Who knows? But I think it should be in there. From what people say about the rat reg manual and the LDO manual, it sounds like it's in there. So, Fysetc, if you're trying to step your game up and be on the same level, if not better or close to what they have going on, that would be my suggestion. Okay, I think we got this one almost completely tight here. We'll hit it with the bump pass. All right, so we have the first corner on. Now to the second corner. Yeah, this thing's gonna be ginormous. Way bigger than the Adventure XL. I could probably fit 4 Adventure XLs in this thing. But unlike the other folks that put this together, I feel extremely grateful that I have the counter space to do this. I literally just have a giant counter space to do this. One nice thing. See, this one's a little interesting. That this one's perfectly flush on this corner, the first one I did. This one is just a little bit sticking out. Just a little bit. And again, like I said, it's perfectly on that corner, so I wonder what maybe I take this off and shift that over just a touch. But it's again, it's on the middle. Maybe I'll just, yeah, I'll shift it just a touch and see. Because this is not mill. This is mill. So maybe this is just that slightly bit off. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, that one's just a little bit off. So yeah, you know what? We'll shift that real quick. Maybe the coating of this makes it a little bigger, I don't know. Much closer. Let's go just a touch, an absolute touch one. Yep, now it's perfect. Yep, I'm sure after I tighten it up, it'll be really good here. So let's check it with Square. Let's see what Mr. Square